We have been supportive for many, many years. Until recently, that was sort of done in the cloak of secrecy almost.
Augusta National didn't quietly tweak a rule. They detonated a bomb inside professional golf, and almost no one saw it coming. Overnight, the Masters changed how players earn their way into the most sacred tournament in the sport, and the ripple effects are already tearing through the PGA Tour, international circuits, sponsorship deals, and even how young golfers plan their careers. Fall events are suddenly losing relevance. Agents are rewriting schedules, and a handful of obscure international tournaments just became more powerful than most American events. The question isn't what changed, it's why Augusta finally decided to pull the trigger now, and who's about to lose everything because of it. For nearly a century, Augusta National has been the slowest-moving institution in sports. This is the same club that waited until 1990 to diversify its membership and until 2012 to admit women. Change at Augusta doesn't happen unless something behind the scenes is pushing it hard. That's what makes the 2026 Masters announcement so unsettling. Because this wasn't an adjustment, it was a structural rewrite of how the most powerful tournament in golf decides who belongs inside its gates. And when Augusta moves this boldly, it's because the balance of power in the sport is shifting. For most of modern golf history, the path to Augusta has been controlled by a careful balance of world rankings, PGA Tour victories, major championships, and a small number of international exemptions. It wasn't perfect, but it created a predictable ladder. Players knew where to go. Tours knew which events mattered. Sponsors knew where the spotlight would be. But now, that ladder has been flipped upside down. Starting in 2026, Augusta will grant automatic Masters invitations to the winners of 6 national opens: the Scottish Open, the Spanish Open, the Japan Open, the Hong Kong Open, the Australian Open, and the South African Open. These tournaments, once viewed by many American fans as regional or secondary, have now been elevated to the most powerful status in golf. One win in any of them is now worth more than an entire season of grinding through mid-tier PGA Tour events. This shift changes everything. In the old system, players could slowly build their way into the Masters through points, rankings, and steady results. Now, one explosive week overseas can launch a career straight into Augusta. Agents are rewriting travel plans. Coaches are adjusting training cycles. Players who once spent their fall chasing PGA Tour points are now booking flights to Tokyo, Sydney, and Johannesburg. One top agent described it as a global gold rush, saying that everyone wants to be in the right place when one of those new golden tickets becomes available. The fallout was immediate. Fall tournaments in the United States, which once used Masters qualifying points as their biggest marketing weapon, suddenly lost their leverage, according to industry MMBs. Insiders, ticket pre-sales for several fall events dropped by double digits within weeks of Augusta's announcement. One tournament reportedly lost a major sponsor entirely. Television partners began questioning whether late-season American events still deserved prime coverage slots. And quietly, behind closed doors, PGA Tour executives realized something uncomfortable. Augusta had just reduced their control over who gets access to golf's biggest stage. Players felt it too. Veterans who built careers by dominating fall events now face a new reality. Those wins no longer carry the same weight. Meanwhile, younger international players have never seen a clearer path to superstardom. For someone like Japan's Kaito Nakajima, or rising stars in South Africa and Spain, this change is life-altering. Under the old system, cracking the Masters field required elite rankings or historical runs on the PGA Tour. Now, one national open victory on home soil can turn a regional hero into a global Ostimo. Name overnight. Fans immediately picked sides. Social media erupted with debates. Some praised Augusta for finally acknowledging that golf is a global sport, not just an American one. Others accused the club of abandoning the players and tournaments that carried the Masters through lean years. Even Rory McIlroy weighed in, saying that the world's best should have to prove themselves everywhere, not just on one tour. His comment was seen as both support and warning, because everyone understands what's really being challenged here: power. For decades, the PGA Tour has been the gatekeeper of golf's most valuable opportunities. Rankings, point systems, and schedules were designed to funnel players toward American events. But Augusta doesn't answer to the PGA Tour. It never has. And with this move, the club has made it clear that it intends to decide its own future, even if that future disrupts the entire industry. By creating direct qualification routes through international Morcillo Opens, Augusta has effectively told the world that the road to the green jacket no longer runs through one country or one tour. If you enjoyed this story, consider subscribing for more golf insights. That's why this isn't just about who plays in the Masters. It's about who controls professional golf. International tournaments are already seeing a surge in interest. Sponsors who once focused only on US exposure are now pouring money into events in Europe, Asia, and Australia. Broadcasters are racing to lock in rights to national opens that suddenly carry Masters-level importance. Even equipment companies are adjusting their athlete contracts, knowing that visibility in these tournaments could now be just as valuable as exposure in America. Behind the scenes at Augusta, insiders describe an atmosphere that was tense but determined. Longtime members reportedly worried that the club's traditional identity might be diluted by this global pivot. But others argued that the Masters must reflect the modern game, not just its past. Golf is no longer centered in one place. Its stars come from everywhere. And Augusta, for all its tradition, doesn't want to be left behind. What makes this shift even more dramatic is how quietly it happened. There was no long buildup, no gradual testing phase, just a single announcement that instantly restructured the professional landscape. Players who had carefully mapped out their careers suddenly found those maps useless. A tournament in Spain now matters more than 3 in Florida. A win in Japan can be worth more than months of grinding on American soil. That's the new reality. Even caddies and coaches are being affected. Travel schedules have become brutal. Teams are hopping between continents, adjusting to different climates, grasses, and time zones. Training regimens are being rewritten to peak for international opens instead of domestic fall events. One coach described it as exhausting but unavoidable, saying, "You go ao," where the doors to Augusta are open. And fans are feeling the shift too. Highlight reels from overseas tournaments are suddenly dominating social feeds. Forums are buzzing with debates about which national open produces the toughest competition. Golf, which once felt geographically narrow, now feels vast again. For the first time in years, the road to the Masters is unpredictable, chaotic, and thrilling. Meanwhile, the PGA Tour is left trying to protect its territory. Reports suggest quiet meetings between tour officials and Augusta representatives have already taken place. Publicly, everything is polite. Privately, everyone knows what's at stake. Control over the sport's most valuable asset, access to the Masters, if players no longer need to rely on the PGA Tour to reach Augusta. The entire balance of power shifts. This is why Augusta's move is being described by some insiders as the most important decision in modern golf history. Not because of who benefits today, but because of what it means for tomorrow. A young golfer in South Africa now has the same shot at Augusta as a rising star in California. A breakout week in Spain can change a life. That's powerful, that's disruptive, and that's exactly why this announcement has sent shockwaves through every corner of the sport. As the 2026 season approaches, one thing is becoming clear. The Masters is no longer just a tournament. It's a force shaping the global structure of golf itself. Every tee shot, every national open, every international broadcast now feeds into one central dream: wearing the green jacket. And now, more than ever before, that dream belongs to the entire world. The question isn't whether this will change golf. It already has. The question is how far those changes will go and who will be left standing when the dust finally settles.